Yo, what's up everyone? This is Kaizouwar here. Yeah, Guilty Gear Strive Dual Ruler had a trailer like 2 weeks ago, and I guess I have the time to talk about it now, so I'm gonna talk about it now. UNIKA, which I've been calling UNIKA in my past couple of videos about Dual Rulers, UNIKA has become a strange obsession for me right now, so I think I'm just making this video just an excuse to talk about the character again. I don't know what it is about this character. I think it's because she's so fresh and new to me in like terms of Guilty Gear. I just want to talk about UNIKA some more. I think I'm just making this video just an excuse to talk more about UNIKA. So the trailer starts off with Sin and UNIKA in the rain talking to each other. UNIKA is still on and on about them gears being corrupt biological weapons. And we still have no idea what her deal is, like, at all. There are small hints, but it's really all up to interpretation so far. We won't really get anything until either we get another trailer or the actual anime comes out. And I think they've been really, really good about keeping, like, why UNIKA doesn't like gears, like, very close to their chest. They haven't said anything yet. Even the hints we could get are very minuscule, so. Oh man, it's crazy. Next, we move on to apparently a celebration where the president, Colin Vernon, he's talking about how the tragic era ended with the Crusades against the Gears, and he holds up a strange device, this rainbow-looking black device with like a little, like a PlayStation triangle symbol on it. Don't know yet, but UNIKA does hold this Eye of Layers. It has to be something important. Either it's a device relating to the Gears, or it's a device that holds secrets of the Gears or the Crusades. Don't know yet. Again, all up to interpretation, but this device seems to be very important because not only Vernon had it, but UNIKA has this as well. So we don't know if UNIKA stole it from Vernon. All we know is it's changed hands from Vernon to UNIKA. So we just gotta figure out what that's all about. But yeah, we're celebrating the end of the Crusades. Well, it's been the end of the Crusades, but we're celebrating, like, you know, the union between Kai and Dizzy. You know, human Kai, Dizzy, half gear. And so we're celebrating that, which is pretty great. We already know this was going to happen. We already know they're married, duh. And we already know Dizzy becomes a queen later. But this is before she was seemingly, like, the queen, right? Like an actual Queen Dizzy. This is just Dizzy at this point. However, UNIKA is not vibing with that. She apparently jumps down the military. Somehow the military showed up. But UNIKA's basically said, hey, okay, guys, the Crusades are going to happen all over again. We should not vibe with these gears. And then they show a shot of Bridget, because Bridget's a bounty hunter. And of course she's here because UNIKA does have a bounty on her, because she has a risk rating, which hasn't been seen in Guilty Gear since, I think, XX, where, like, they used to have, like, these sort of ratings about specific characters on the roster. They'll tell you, okay, this is their risk rating, this is how dangerous they are. It was done by the PWAB, the Post-War Administration Bureau. And they basically tell you what these characters, like, oh, this is how dangerous this character is, or this is a little backstory on the character, this is why they're dangerous, this is, you know, stuff like that, right? And again, I think we haven't seen that since Guilty Gear XX, which is kind of cool they're bringing it back for this one, because if I remember correctly, I think, like, Melia's in charge of the PWAB now, if I remember correctly. So we could already guess that maybe Melia will also play a role in the trailer. She hasn't been seen yet, but she'll probably play a role in the anime at some point. But anyway, UNIKA's risk rating is S+++, which is funny because I think, if I remember correctly, Dizzy's was the one with the highest risk rating, and I think hers was S++. And looking at her risk rating closely, like her confidential thing closely, we see, like, you know, her name, her weight, birthday, blood type, we don't know, but, like, where it says her type, and I guess that means, like, you know, there's her species and stuff like that. You know, like, oh, we have human, or we have, like, gear, stuff like that. She has human with a question mark. No one knows what UNIKA is. I don't know whether or not it's because she's displayed some gear-like abilities with her weapon. I don't know if that's what people mean about the whole human thing, or if she's just so strong she can't be classified as human. Don't know, but my theory of UNIKA being a gear, I think a lot of people are theorizing that UNIKA is some type of gear of sorts, or maybe has gear-related abilities. Don't know. But the whole human question mark thing is very telling. Anyway, we cut to another scene where Unika's holding that device I mentioned earlier, where, you know, the one I told you that she probably stole or someone stole from Vernon and ended up in Unika's hands. Maybe it's just multiple of these devices, but I feel like there wouldn't be multiple of these. I feel like there will just be one device. It might be really important to the series. I'm sorry, to the anime. But yeah, Unika declares that she is Unika and that she's going to save the world, presumably by destroying all gears, which is funny. It's so funny to me that the idea of Unika wanting to destroy all the gears and try to save the world is just kind of like how Soul was, where he said he was going to, you know, destroy all the gears. And the funny thing about it is, Unika says that she wants to prevent the Crusades from happening again, not knowing that she's doing the Crusades again. Unika does not understand. Well, I feel like this is going to play later in the anime, but I feel like it's funny that, like, she doesn't want the Crusades to happen, and she's literally doing the Crusades. And if Unika is a gear, it's funny because the Crusades were led by the Holy Orders, right? So there would be no Crusades without justice in the other, you know, gears she commanded, duh. But they had to essentially start the Crusades to fight back against justice. So if Unika is a gear, or some form of a gear, or has gear powers, or whatever, she is a gear declaring war on gears who are essentially integrated themselves into humanity, right? She's basically doing a reverse Crusades, essentially, which is really funny to me. Okay, so we have several things to talk about here. Okay, so we are at Kai and Dizzy's, well, the start of Kai and Dizzy's way, and Kai basically is talking about, okay, well, you know, the times has moved on, you know, gears and humans are coexisting. These, you know, the Crusades was in the past, it's over with, you know, we need to move on, you know, and bring forth a new change within humanity, right? Then you got this freaking dude coming up here. His name apparently, according to the website, is Nerval Hammer, which that is a name. Nerval Hammer. That's a name. But he's very anti-gear. He does not like the coexistence between humans and gears. And I'm already calling it right now. This guy is going to be the main villain of the anime. And the only reason I call it right now is because, and I guess spoiler alert for the rest of the trailer, it's mentioned that Unika is not working alone. She's working with someone in order to accomplish it. Considering she's anti-gear, he's anti-gear, and he's already a U.S. senator. He's probably got the bank to fund Unika. He's probably like essentially using Unika as like a publicity thing. You know, maybe he can't do the whole destruction of all gears thing, so he just chose Unika to do it. Don't know about that, but I'm already calling it right now. He's the main villain. Unika's a scapegoat villain. He's just using her, and it's even shown later that he does this like this sinister smile on his face when it was brought up in the trailer that Unika isn't working alone, and immediately cuts to him smirking. So I feel like it's already very telling. We see Soul working with like this new arm gauntlet device. Now, at the end of Guilty Gear Strive, Asuka essentially stripped Soul of most of his gear powers. Now, Soul is still a gear. He's just not like the uber strong gear that he was before. And I assume that he's working with this glove device in order to tap into his gear powers because he doesn't have his headband anymore to hold back, you know, his full gear powers. So I assume that this arm thing is probably what he's working with in order to channel that power again. I would like to see that. This arm gauntlet thing looks cool as hell. Apparently Johnny's also here at the wedding, because I guess Johnny is a friend of the family now. I guess it makes sense. You know, Johnny's been pretty cool with them, and on top of that, Dizzy was one of the jellyfish pirates at some point, so I guess it would make sense for Johnny to be here, right? And it's also funny that like you know, where's Testament? Where's May? Like, if Johnny's here, where's May, right? Testament was also a close friend of Dizzy. Where's Testament? Don't know. They're probably doing off a bunch of random things like their hobbies. They're a bunch of random hobbies, so that's probably why they're not here. And I can't explain May, but Johnny's here. And he's also attacked by these weird snake-like creature things. They also have little masks like Unika. The masks aren't exactly the same, but they have little masks like her. And I assume that the masks are coming, like the little creatures are coming from Unika. Don't know how. I assume it's because of the weapon she wields, which we have no idea what the weapon's called or what it is. The only thing that we really have is like this little document sheet that was shown up in the trailer that when she was first revealed as being a playable character for Season 4. And there's a bunch of names on it, but for now, I'm going to call the weapon Thunderstruck. That's because it's like one of the words that's on the weapon. And I don't want to say AC-43 because that's, you know, the AC/DC reference. I don't want to call it that because I doubt highly that's the name of the weapon. But I'm calling it Thunderstruck for now. So her weapon, Thunderstruck, is basically generating, for me, personally for me, what I believe is that she's generating these creatures or coming from the weapon, and don't know how, because we haven't seen her like, we see Soul working with like this new arm gauntlet device. Now at the end of Guilty Gear Strive, Asuka essentially stripped Soul of most of his gear powers. Now Soul is still a gear, he's just not like the uber strong gear that he was before. And I assume that he's working with this glove device in order to tap into his gear powers because he doesn't have his headband anymore to hold back, you know, his full gear powers. So I assume that this arm thing is probably what he's working with in order to channel that power again. She clashes blades with Kai. Kai wonders like, hey man, what you doing here? Why are you doing this? Unika's like, well, okay, gears coexisting with humans, I'm not about that life. So all gears have to be destroyed. They got to go. Dizzy showing up in her X-Art outfit, which is surprising to me, but when people were confused about why she was in her X-Art outfit, I assume this is because before she got her actual outfit. So the reveal of Dizzy being in season 4 must mean that Dual Rulers takes place before that, right? Because we don't, honestly, when Dizzy shows up in Strive, you know, we don't see her in her actual like Stride uniform yet until she actually becomes a playable character. So I can only assume that this is her combat outfit before she gets her actual outfit, before she truly becomes queen. Because I think this is like in between the wedding, like they didn't become truly married yet. I assume because Unika crashed the wedding, they didn't get officially married until after the events of Dual Rulers, which is why Dizzy still has her actual outfit, right? Her actual X-Art outfit. Don't know, but I'm just throwing that out there. So yeah, that's probably why she has her X-Art outfit. Also, there is one thing I did miss in the trailer. So I'm using like the cuts that the trailer does as to kind of justify some of the theories I'm going for right now. So Nerval Hammer brings up like, okay, these gears are killing machines. Nothing can change the fact that the gears are killing machines. And Dizzy brings up, well, you know, surely one's birth doesn't determine everything about them, right? And it cuts immediately to Unika, and that's when she starts attacking, right? Now, this is just a trailer. It's not probably also not, that's not how it's going to go in the show. But using it off the trailer, I assume this has something to do with Unika. Like the idea of Unika being a gear makes too much sense, right? And then when she mentions like, you know, surely one's birth doesn't mean anything, and it cuts to Unika, boom. That can already tell you right there that she's part gear. She's either part gear or is a gear, like, well, full gear or gear adjacent. We don't know. We don't know how she became a gear, or if she's related to Kai and his family, or if she's related to Soul. Well, I guess Kai's family is part of Soul, so Dizzy being Soul's daughter. But still, I can only assume that Unika's a gear. That's my theory. She is a gear. It's just, what's her relation to Sin, Dizzy, Kai, Soul? Because there has to be something. She cannot just be a random, like, third party. She is related to these guys somehow. We just don't know how. We don't know why. Again, that's probably something we won't know until the anime actually does come out. So, just wanted to bring that up. So yeah, as the wedding is being attacked, a lot of stuff happens. There's not much for me to bring up. But yeah, Bridget shows up, which I already mentioned before. Bridget showing up. She's a bounty hunter. It's I know a lot of people are like, why is Bridget here? Why is she here? But it makes total sense. She's a bounty hunter. Unika has a bounty hunter. She's registered in the PWAB. She has a risk rating of S+++. Unika is a criminal. She is a criminal. Bridget's here. Get the bounty. That's why she's here. Let's deal with it. Military, or whoever this is, robot soldiers start attacking as well. Unika and Sin clash. Jacko pulls some Looney Tunes shit by putting her finger in the barrel of a gun. Soul also starts using his gear powers again. Cool. Again, there's a lot to skip through because there's not much I can divine. We do get a scene where Unika's in this torn down house looking over the information from that little device she was holding, like I saw earlier in the trailer. So we had this. I only assumed that this torn down house has something to do with her backstory. maybe she was just a normal girl and then Gears attacked and then destroyed her home, and then she wants revenge on all Gears. She's also watching this news broadcast about this live feed, and then scene cuts over her tear dropping on the device that she got. So back to the rest of the trailer. So these monsters again are attacking. A biker shows up and attacks one, which is funny because this one actually has an arm. This one has an arm and hand. So they're not all just like snakes. They can transform as well. Don't know if they're Gears too. They could be anything else, but I'm just gonna throw everything as a Gear theory. Everybody's a Gear. UNIKA's a Gear. This device she's holding is a Gear. These snake things are Gears. Don't know. Soul's attacking one, which is hilarious, seeing like him actually use his move in the game. I assume Johnny is probably fighting him as well because it seems like he's defending some civilians. Cool. Nice to see Johnny step up. UNIKA is still fighting Sin. Like, you can't look me in the eye and tell me this ain't like when I see red lightning, I imagine Gear. Like either it's like her gear powers or it's the weapon, the gear weapon. UNIKA's she's feeling a little Gear to me. Then we cut to a scene where her, I think she's still in the rain talking to Sin, and she doesn't have a mask on, but it doesn't look like it's raining. It looks more like a starry night. Don't know, but it looks like something is happening, and she looks very sad about it. She looks very sad the entire trailer, but it's kind of hard to see with the goggles on, and it immediately cuts to Sin just feeling it right now because I could tell he's really going through it, trying to talk to UNIKA, trying to convince her that Gears aren't all bad, but you never see Sin distressed before, right? So it's either because of UNIKA or maybe something, UNIKA's arrival caused something even worse to happen, right? Because if she's starting a second crusade, it's just gonna be so over, bro. And that's probably why. UNIKA shows up again later. This was a part of the scene where they mentioned that UNIKA isn't working alone, and it cuts to Nerval just smirking very evilly. If you couldn't make a more evil looking character if you tried. Either he's the decoy villain and UNIKA's the true main villain, or UNIKA's the decoy villain and Nerval's the villain. Like, there's no way around it. That's my theory already. Like, maybe it's a red herring. Guilty Gear's always been known to throw me off, so maybe it's a red herring. Maybe I'm looking too much into this. Maybe Nerval isn't even evil. Maybe he just doesn't like Gears. There's a scene cutting to Ramathal and Elfelt where they're talking about, hey, maybe we should take on the big, snag the big bad, the big villain. And Elfelt being Elfelt. And they're still looking up information about all that. Ramathal says, hey, look, gathering intel is my specialty. I can do that. I can figure stuff out. So they're off doing their own thing. Biken shows up talking to Sin, which is actually pretty crazy. It's kind of funny seeing these two talk to each other because it's Biken. It's nice seeing Biken more open. She's actually talking to Sin, and it's like, she tells Sin, like, you won't save anyone like that. And I can totally understand where she's coming from. So, like, she's trying to give advice to Sin, which I really like. I like seeing this new side of Biken. It's pretty damn cool. Sin tracks down UNIKA. They fight a little bit more, and Sin vows to stop the Crusades. And UNIKA's like, hey, what? Why are you hanging out with these Gears? Like, why are you hanging out with them? And like, I assume this is at some point she doesn't recognize Sin as a Gear. I think this is before she even knows that Sin is like Gear himself, like he's a part Gear himself. So I think at this point she would only see Sin as like, hey, you're just working like with the Gears. Why are you working with it? Why are you defending him so much? Without knowing that he's part Gear himself, right? And Sin vows to stop the Crusades because I could already tell that he realizes that this whole thing with UNIKA fighting against the Gears is just going to cause another crusade, and Sin vows to stop that. And that's the end of the trailer. That was a lot. That was a lot to parse. I think everything I needed to say has been said already. Again, UNIKA is just an obsession for me now. I don't know what's up with her, but absolutely obsessed. I'm absolutely obsessed with this character right now. I definitely want to see more trailers. I definitely want to see more of her. Again, UNIKA Gear theory is getting stronger for each trailer, I swear to God.